Here we go for your 30-30 resolution ride. Finding your easy gear here for 3 minutes. So that's somewhere where you've got some comfortable turning over of the pedals, likely in that 80 to 110 watt range. Cadence in and around 90 to 105 RPMs. Let's get our legs nice and warmed up as we head into an aerobic endurance and aerobic power workout for you today. So we've got 3 minutes here. Now coming up to just over 2 minutes to go. Just finding some relaxation in your upper body, checking in with your back, make sure you're drawing your shoulder blades down towards your hips, just so we've got a nice open rib cage, nice open chest for our breathing, not gripping our handlebars too tightly, gently engaging our power center here, our core, just gently drawing in that belly button towards your spine so that we're properly aligned over our saddle and directing the power down through our big muscles where we want them this morning. So another minute and a half to go here. Just that nice turnover of the pedals. If you're following my cadence, I'm in and around 105 RPMs here right now. I like to warm up at quite a crisp cadence here at a nice easy gear. And the first part of our warm-up this morning is going to work through our cadences just to really get our leg speed up to maximum turnover. So we're ready for the workout ahead. So coming up in about 40 seconds, we'll spend 30 seconds each at 100 through to our max RPM and back down, so a cadence pyramid. And we will launch from a fairly easy gear. You might want to be a tad higher than where you are right now, maybe closer to that 40% range, 4 out of 10. So let's find that gear that you want to start and bring in your cadence to 100 RPM. We're on for our first 30 seconds in 3, 2, 1. Here we go. And again, monitoring your gear as we go up through the cadences. If it starts to get up towards 60%, you're going to want to back off that gear a little bit. This is about maintaining control of your pedals, not about putting power under your feet. We'll get to that in a little bit. So our next move is up to 105 in 3, 2, 1. Let's add 5 RPMs, 30 seconds here. 105 is the top end of our cadence efficiency range, which generally is between 90 and 105. That is what we would call your preferred cadence range, somewhere where you feel like you could ride at that turnover for longer periods of time. And moving up to 110. Bring it up. 30 seconds here. Remembering to breathe as we're getting this leg speed up. You'll get a little bit of a lift in your heart rate now as we exceed that cadence efficiency range. 10 more seconds. Then we move up to 115. In 3, 2, 1, bring it up to 115. Again, that gear should not really be exceeding much more than 50% here of your MAP, or a 5 out of 10. We want to maintain control of these circles that our feet are turning in an easier gear that is harder to do. So this is part of our control and learning to really turn our circles competently. And 3, 2, 1, bring it up to your max RPM. 120, 120 plus plus, 30 seconds. Try not to have any gaps in that circle, no clunking. Nice and smooth. I've got my cadence up close to 130 right now if you're following my legs. And back to 115. Just taking a little bit of leg speed off, settling back to 115. Try not to let it drop below. 30 seconds here. Again, quick check-in with your body while we're doing the work. Make sure we're not increasing our strain on our arms, elbows, wrists. And back to 110. Nice and smooth. If you took some extra gear off at the top end of the pyramid, you might want to add a little bit back in, still staying in that 40 to 50% range. And 105. Second last stage of this pyramid. Should be able to have a sip of hydration at this point. And 3, 2, 1, back to 100 RPM. Back to where we started, 30 more seconds. Feeling very smooth here. And 3, 2, 1. Now we've got 30 seconds to set our gear to something hard. So that means something up in and around that 85, 90% range, even MAP or MAP plus. Let's bring in a really hard gear here now. Just find that gear. And once you've got that gear, bring your pedals to a stop. We're going to do a 15-second acceleration. Pedals to a stop. And 3, 2, 1. Go, go, go. You can stand to start, sit to start. 3, 2, 1. Back the gear right off to easy. 1:45. We're getting into these warm-ups and drills really quickly here. We are maximizing our 30 minutes. So we're doing 2 times through what we just did. So we've done one more to go. In the last 15 seconds, before we begin the second one, I'll cue you to find that hard gear again and bring your legs to a stop. Still a minute easy here. So easy is easy. We're bringing that gear right back to where we were in the warm-up. That 80 to 110 watts, nice high leg turnover. Ideally, you're 100 plus here to really flush the work, but definitely over 90. And in 30 seconds, I will cue you to bring in that hard gear and bring your legs to a stop. So really taking this opportunity at this easy gear. I do not want you above that 110 watts for the bigger riders. Now start bringing in that big gear, back up to that 85, 90 MAP plus, something hard. Find the gear, slow the legs down to a stop. You can start with a stand, you can start seated. Just 15 seconds. 3, 2, 1, go. Get up to speed. Come on, stay with it. 5 more seconds. And 3, 2, 1, back the gear right off. Back to easy, full recovery. A minute 45. So we are awakening the top end of our strength here. It's a good way to set up for the longer sets ahead. So you're back to that easy place, high leg turnover. Grab some hydration. Minute 15 till we get right into it. So our main set today, we are building aerobic endurance, which is in and around your tempo, or 70 to 75% of your MAP, in and around your FTP, whichever metrics you like to use, and then going above that into some threshold work. More time will be spent in that 70 to 75% zone, but we do touch up to 80, 85, and finally an 85% plus. So coming up in 30 seconds, we will be 3 minutes at our 70% watts at 80 RPM. So first thing to do right now, bring a little gear in and slow the legs down to 80 RPM. So heading up towards your 50%, we have 10 seconds to go. Let's get the legs slowed down here. Finding 80 RPM, 70% watts, in 3, 2, 1. Bring in the rest of that gear. And we're at 80 RPM. Taking the first 15 seconds or so to find everything, settle in. We've got a full 3 minutes here. So we're just past 20 seconds in. Everyone should be in and around their numbers. So let's settle down. Try and settle your breathing a little bit here. Keeping in mind that 70% to 75% should be in and around your hour power, a level you can hold for 60 minutes, somewhere in the 80 to 100 RPM range. At 80 RPM right now, we're on a low-grade climb. We're past 1 minute in. So this is the aerobic endurance component of the main set. The objective being to train our bodies to go longer at a higher output while keeping our heart rate moderated, where you like it to be when you're at this zone 4 range. Coming up to our final minute here. You're still at 80 RPM, 70% watts. Hold on. Again, checking in, making sure you're not gripping your bars too tightly, keeping those elbows fairly loose, directing your energy down through your big leg muscles and hip girdle. In between our efforts, we have 1 minute recovery. Recovery being 40%, 4 out of 10. A little above that easy, probably in the 90 to 120, 130 watt range, depending on what your MAP is. And the leg speed will be up 90 to 100 RPM. And that is coming up in 10 seconds. So we'll lift our leg speed, take off a bit of gear. In 3, 2, 1. Finding that recovery gear, 90 to 100 RPM. We only have a minute here, so let's get there quickly, get that gear off. grabbing a drink as you can. 30 more seconds. Our next step is 3 minutes at 75% watts. This time you're at your 90 RPM. So we are flattening out the road, increasing the watts. Coming up in 10 seconds. Zone in on your 90 RPM. And 3, 2, 1. 75% watts. 7.5 out of 10. This should be right around your FTP if you know that number. We're here for 3 minutes. And we're 20 seconds in. You should be there now. Just make sure you're not over-geared here. We still have 3 more steps above this to get to. And at 45 seconds in, take a check on your breath. Try and stabilize your breathing. Remember, you could be here for an hour. This is your hour power. We're just past the first minute. Less than 2 to go. Keep steady on those pedals. Really feeling your foot in your shoe as you come through the bottom, pulling up the back and up and over the top. Never losing contact. Nice work. Sometimes the steady state for more than a couple minutes is mentally harder than anything. But this is endurance. 1 more minute to go. Checking down at your legs, hoping that your knees are tracking over your feet so you can maintain that most efficient circle. And just over 30 seconds to go, and we're back to that 1 minute recovery. And remember, our recovery is in that 40% range, 4 out of 10, 90 to 100 RPM. Coming up in 5 seconds. We're mostly just taking some gear off since we're at 90 RPM already. 3, 2, 1. 1 minute recovery. 40%. You can increase your leg speed up towards 100. Be able to take a bit more gear off than if you stay at 90. 30 more seconds. And our next stage is 2 minutes at 75 to 80% watts at your preferred cadence. So I'm giving you the choice this one time through to be somewhere between 90 and 105. So we're coming on in 5 seconds, 75 to 80%. In 3, 2, 1. Bring in the rest of the gear. Find that preferred cadence. 2 minutes. Try to be above 75% since we just did 3 minutes there, even if it's just a few watts. And figure out your preferred cadence For many, it's in the low 90s, but you certainly can play around with that, especially in these 30-30 sessions or when you're indoors. "45 seconds in, should be nicely settled in here, just exceeding that hour power. Nice work. Less than a minute to go. Looking forward, look up the road. Even inside, we don't want to create a habit of looking at a computer, bending our neck down. We want to set those gears and really imprint it into our bodies. 30 seconds. And then we're back to that 1 minute recovery. This time our recovery, same wattage, 100 RPM. In 5, 2, 1, 100 RPM, 40% watts, 4 out of 10. Bring it up. Get that bit of gear off. Leg speed up if you weren't at 100 already. For just a minute here. Our next 2 minutes is at our 80% watts at 100 RPM. So we're getting faster and higher watts. And that is coming up in 20 seconds. So you're at 100 RPM now. This will be about just bringing the gear in and keeping this leg speed. Getting ready in 5 seconds. Start bringing in that gear. 3, 2, 1. 80% watts, 8 out of 10, 100 RPM, 2 minutes. Think about your body position here as things are getting a little harder. This is where our form can fly out the window. We're riding our bike, want to have our hands on our bars. You can be in your drops if you wish, up in your hoods. Nice and strong on the pedals, 100 RPM. Come on, you can do this. Again, thinking about your feet, make sure you're turning those efficient circles. You'll get a few more watts that way and save some energy. Less than a minute to go. Then we're back to that recovery. Keep the legs up there at 100 RPM. Come on, hold on. 30 more seconds. And for the upcoming recovery, minimum 100 RPM. 100 RPM plus. Back to that 40%. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Some gear off. Keep the leg speed high. 1 minute. We're almost there. We're into the aerobic power portion of this main set, touching up into our threshold. Grab this recovery while you can. 30 more seconds. Our final minute and a half. 1 minute. 85% watts at 100 plus RPM. And then the final 30 seconds, all out. So you're at that high RPM already. We're on in less than 10 seconds at 85%. And 3, 2, 1, bring up that gear. Keep the leg speed high. Just a minute. 85%, 8.5 out of 10. This is hard. But you can do this. That's what we're all here for. 30 minutes every day. Power. Keep going. 30 seconds to go. In 15 seconds, increasing your leg speed. Bring up the gear, a few more watts, just with leg speed. This is your all-out effort for the final 30. In 3, 2, 1, go! Bring it up. Can you find 110 RPM? Can you find at least 5 more watts? Come on, halfway. Hold on. You have a nice recovery built in here. And 3, 2, 1, back it right off. Right back to easy. Keep the legs moving. Don't stop turning those pedals. Keep the cadence high, gear low. It'll take you a little bit to settle your breath. Let's focus on that. We have 2 more minutes. And after these types of intervals with mostly less rest than work, we come right off at the end, get a full recovery. And do stay on your bike a little longer after to really ride this out. Minute and a half to go. So just a reminder, we have daily prizes, some awesome stuff, and it's for the day you rode. So don't forget to log on your Google Sheets that you did this workout. Even if you aren't doing every single of the 30 days, you're eligible for the prizes on the days you did. So that's super important. And of course, for those who do get through all 30 days, you're in for the grand prize of $1,000 at Dunbar Cycles, which is also Corsa. It's amazing. So we thank them greatly for their partnership in this. Just over 30 seconds to go. Really think about your breathing now. Try and settle that heart rate. That's the goal with the aerobic sessions, is to gain strength and power in our performance while keeping our heart rate level. So if we start at whatever place we're at and our heart rate is at a certain beats per minute, as you get stronger, you want to be able to keep those beats per minute, but you're moving faster. And that's a wrap for today. We'll see you for the next 30-30.